We are back. We're 2 weeks removed from the Dodgers winning the World Series, and Brandon, I don't know about you, but my algorithm is just full of those juicy, salty tears of baseball fans around the world. I can't get enough of it. But I'm happy to be back and talk about the Dodgers offseason, to talk about what's going on in baseball. More than anything, I'm happy to see you because it's been 2 weeks. It's been too long, Brandon. It's me, Jesse Rowe. Oh my, this fucking intro. Hold on, here we go. All right. It's me, Jesse Rowe, with Deferred Collusion, King of Crespi, with Branden Bullinger, Lord Paramount of the South Bay in Los Angeles, California. We haven't done this in 2 weeks that I fucked up this intro so badly, dude. Like, that's how out of practice I am right now.
Man, dude, the champ has gotten rusty. Look what a couple of weeks into the offseason has done for him. That's your host, Jesse Rowe. With me, as always, ya boy, the blue-collar guys, Deferred Collusion, Branden Bullinger here. Happy to see you, Jess. It is, oh, man, it has been smooth sailing. I saw you were out at the parade. Cheeks were clapping in the form of booty shakes.
They were, that is true,
paraplegics, which I thought was just a beautiful sign that the city is healing itself. We saw Yamamoto just get the flowers he deserved, as well as none other than Clayton Kershaw, the GOAT himself. We've got
maybe future GM of the Dodgers or future front office executive.
Maybe but not. According to reports, he has already turned down a front office position with the Dodgers. It's like they don't know what the word retired means. Just let him go off into the sunset. But Jess,
he's going to be a high school baseball coach or something. Just watch. That's who Kershaw is going to be, dude. I don't want to see him on TV like Tom Brady, doing Fox NFL Sundays. You know what I mean? I don't want to see Kershaw as like a bench coach. He's a legend, dude. He needs to go off and just like coach Little League baseball. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's going to get a video of him, like Kershaw, like 5 years from now coaching Little League, and it's like, that's what I'm fucking talking about, Kershaw.
Exactly. That's what I want. I want to see a dad just down the third baseline.
He's getting fat. He's not TV ready anymore.
Watching some kid hit a little grounder off a tee into his team's defense, and a bunch of kids just miss the ground ball and just convert. It's a lot of fun to see. But Jess, oh, man, what a way to send off the GOAT. Storybook stuff. The game honored him. You posted a little video about one of our favorite Dodgers ever now, Miguel Rojas, how the game honored him, about how you've been really dipping into that goodie bag of nostalgia of that home run already, huh? You've watched it a couple times?
Well, I mean, it's weird because when the World Series is so stressful, right? Like the playoffs, it's so high octane, it's so high stress, and it's like a month long, and you're just fully invested and fully immersed in it. And then these amazing moments happen in Game 7, and then it's just over, right? Then it's just over, and you just kind of find yourself rewatching these incredible highlights. I'd imagine if I was a Blue Jays fan, I would not be rewatching those highlights, but I made a video talking about how I've rewatched that Miguel Rojas solo home run in the ninth inning of Game 7 probably like 135 times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's totally affected my algorithm to the point where like my algorithm is purely my interests and then Dodgers World Series highlights.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, like, I started seeing a bunch of videos, like fan reactions from the crowd at the Rogers Center.
Love
or
those.
like
Tasty.
Yeah, Blue Jays fans like reacting to the Rojas home run, reacting to the Will Smith home run.
Yeah, there's a great one
so
from
good.
inside. I forget what the arena is, but they're like, it's like a watch party at like where
the
Raptors
Maple
play.
Leafs play. Yeah.
Or Maple
Raptors,
Leafs play.
Yeah,
Whatever. I don't know, dude. I'm not from Toronto, but yeah, dude, it's been hilarious seeing like everybody jumping in, trying to talk their shit. Like even that aren't Dodger fans, just like fired up. Like I was telling you, there was Ken Rosenthal was firing shots off at Drake, calling him the dork of the week, which I just thought was hilarious because I'm like, this guy's such a dork. Don't try and get like crowd favor from your,
he's trying hard.
Away of the cameraman. Like, we
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
forgot, dude. You're a dork too. But Jess, that's not what this is about. I mean, I'm right there with you, dude. My algo is completely skewed to Dodger stuff. My daughter gets to run a lot of Sesame Street and Elmo and the like, and it's like every couple videos that'll pass and it'll just be like, and welcome to Game 7 of the World Series. It's just starting the like 25-minute like full game recap.
Or like fire edits that like Dodger fans make of like, there's this one really good edit that I want to shout out the creator of it, but it's this one edit of Yamamoto from Game 3 of the World Series where it's like almost kind of like pretty hard techno beat of some kind, and it starts with them in the dugout, like in the extra innings of Game 3, and then it's Roki's reaction of finding out that Yamamoto, who just pitched the game before, is going to go warm up in the bullpen. Like he was going to come out and pitch the 19th inning if it got there, if not for Freddie Freeman's walk-off. And then it cuts to a montage of all of Yama's highlights from him pitching in Game 2 and in Game 6 and Game 7 ultimately in the World Series. And it was just, man, I never thought, but Yamamoto getting this sick edit, that's how you know the postseason went well, is when Yamamoto is getting those sick edits, because it's weird how he almost became like nobody. It's weird how he was the biggest free agent signing after Shohei Ohtani in the 2024 offseason, right? And then people kind of forgot about him almost. Like why he was the most sought after pitcher, and then he gets all this love, and I've been just gobbling it up, dude. I'm a gobbler.
Dude, gobble me, daddy.
I'm gobbling him like Bill Clinton, dude.
Oh my God, Bubba. The holidays are around the corner. These are all turkey-related jokes. But Jess, I really, really am there with you. I mean, one of my favorite edits I've seen is just like the clip of the audible groan from Game 7 when they show the bullpen and it's Yamamoto warming up. Just like, I know. Like, dude, they like Blue Jays fans knew this guy was just spelling doom for their ball club. And, all things considered, I think we can all say it's been the most exciting World Series in the last, 25 years, bar none. It was unreal. It had everything. Global market, blew the NBA finals out of the water, hit all these metrics, made all this money.
I think they nearly doubled the viewership of the NBA finals.
Oh yeah, dude. And I mean, I think I mentioned this in our after the World Series app a couple weeks ago, but I can talk about it to even like a greater extent now. But the amount of like non-fans that I know that like did not follow baseball before this season whatsoever, maybe went to a game on like BTS night, like my wife's cousin and aunt, and maybe they went to a couple games just because, hey, it's the culture thing to do right now. I mean, dude, people are locked in now to Dodger baseball. We've got the repeat. LA's buzzing. It has never felt more like a baseball town in my life. And Jesse, I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, this has been the most excited about like a sporting series I have seen since like that 2010 Lakers team, going back to back. Like it's just one of those things that you recognize in the moment was hard fought. It's a special thing. It hasn't happened very often, and especially I know I'm speaking about baseball here, not basketball, as a bunch of back-to-back champs. But anyways, it's just I don't know. Like, dude, you said there was just such a relief after this postseason that I don't think you get every season. Like this was a special year, dude. Take a sip. That was a hot one.
So it's interesting you say that, because after the series was over, before the series started, even going into the offseason after the Dodgers won against the Yankees last year, obviously there was a lot of buzz about that series because it was LA versus New York and stuff, but the series itself kind of ended up being a dud, only because the Dodgers was a gentleman's sweep, and also thankfully Game 5 and Game 1 were like awesome games.
Incredible
right? It was
games.
bookended by great games. But for the most part, it was just the Dodgers beat up on the Yankees, and it just didn't have that same vibe. That was more for like LA fans to like get over the 2020 hump of everybody saying that wasn't a real World Series, that they got their, and then obviously the Astro stuff lingering beyond that. Totally. So like the Dodgers got over that, right? It was a big win. This win over the Blue Jays was a win for everybody in baseball. It was a win for sports. Totally. Yeah. And because I think actually Blue Jays fans, like the Blue Jays themselves, like in terms of coming off of a defeat, like their stock rose in defeat, like as much as any team in like the history of sports, I would argue. Because I would argue that was actually probably like the most heartbreaking loss ever in the history of sports. Like I think there's an argument for it. I know that like the Dodgers losing Game 7 against the Astros and then finding out they were cheating, like all that stuff was like we hold that very, like that's a very painful memory for us. But I don't know if Dodger fans have ever really fully experienced that level of pain, being 2 outs away from actually winning the World Series, to like being 2 inches away from winning it, to like a dropped fly ball by Andy Pages away from winning it. You know what I mean? Like just how many moments in that game. It was a truly painful loss for the Blue Jays, but that's a testament to the Dodgers more than anything and their resilience. And I think that the point I'm trying to make is it was just amazing for sports in general that it was on that stage, that all happened in that game. And that it didn't happen in like Game 5, that it happened in a do-or-die Game 7. And I thought after winning it, this is a point that I didn't make in the podcast after we recorded that night. I was too emotional that night. Totally. I was just too in my feelings. I was, like the adrenaline was pumping. Dude. That like I had some time to really just decompress and think about it, and I think it was the most important win in the history of the Dodgers franchise. And I don't even think it's all that close. If you go back and look, like the Kirk Gibson moment was super important, but like the Dodgers have never had like a dynasty, especially in the modern era, of this magnitude. And to like win that game where the whole sport, everybody outside of your city is rooting against you. They're all trying to support this other country, and to like go down 3-2, to have to go on the road, overcome, win, and then win that game, have to come from behind, 2 outs away from losing, all that stuff, just everything on the line. With a lockout looming 2 years from now, I think it's the most important win in the history of the Dodgers. And it gave them like a true, real dynasty that like nobody can ever take away from them. And I think it just it helped me put some things in perspective about what this era of Dodger baseball has meant to the city. And I truly think that now we are in an era where, yes, like NFL and NBA might still get like more social media traction. It might still be like a little bit more popular among the masses. But I think that the Dodgers have saved baseball, or maybe like boosted baseball in a way that no other team could have. If the Blue Jays win that game, everybody's happy. It's a great story. It doesn't save baseball, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people want to say that. Dodgers winning, like really, like it's actually, this is a great thing overall, because now you have them potentially going for a three-peat, the first time in 25 years. Yeah. This is fucking huge. This is huge for the sport. Dude. And I'm just super proud of them. Yeah. I
mean, it's headlined obviously by Shohei winning his second in a row now, NL MVP. And like you were mentioning about this.
Super controversial, by the way.
Super controversial. Can't believe it, dude. What was it? 50 Ks and 50 bing bongs? Is that bad? Anyways. Yeah.
To the 2 straight years being the first 50-50 player in baseball history.
Dude, just what side of the stats do you want it from, brother? He is he doesn't kink shame with those stats, brother. That war just be flowing. But Jess, to your point about this being the most important win in Dodgers franchise history, it does put them in rarefied air, right? This team, this organization, this run with Doc Roberts, Guggenheim Group, whatever. And to the Blue Jays' unfortunate credit, they put them in rarefied air. I don't know many teams or fan bases that can relate to a loss like that outside of the 2016 Cleveland Indians. That's about it, right? And if it was the other way around, I think we're talking about maybe this ends up being the greatest upset of all time with the Blue Jays winning. Maybe that's the narrative that's spun, but it's not. It's the bad guys. It's Razor Ramon, baby. The
Indians
Dodgers
is
have
close to
ruined
be.
baseball.
2016 is close because they had a 3-1 lead in that series over the Cubs, whereas the Dodgers were down 3-2. So I think that's probably like the best comp that we could get.
I think so. I'm glad we agree. We should start a pod.
We should.
We should talk about it for 5 years before we do it. But no, it's one of those things that I think now looking back, we can feel the magnitude of it. We can see the viewership that it's gained. I don't think there has ever been a period in my 36 years of life that baseball has been this hot in Los Angeles, in the country. I feel like there's a lot of stars in different markets, which is great for the game. Hopefully these bum owners pays them to, start building around like a SKUBAL. But if not, I'm ready to talk the Dodgers making a trade. But Jess, I just want to say for this 2025 team, what a fucking way to send us off. And I got to retire the old postseason glasses.
Wow.
Gotta put them down. They accomplished the goal. Job's finished. We did it, Joe. However you want to make a gig.
So if you're going to retire the off-season, or the postseason glasses, I'm going to put on the off-season glasses.
Let's go.
No, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Before we move on to like other topics, just in terms of what this meant, because we mentioned the viewership and how high it got, because I think it was Game 7 specifically where they were comparing it to OKC versus Indiana. I do think that game got a little bit hampered by the fact that Tyrese Halliburton tore his Achilles early on in that game, which kind of sucked the air out of it a little bit. But also the fact that you're talking about Indianapolis versus Oklahoma City in a championship. This was a game that had the country, the United States involved. Los Angeles Dodgers, one of the biggest brands, a bi-coastal brand, by the way, that started in New York, that went to Los Angeles in the 50s.
Ooh, go on.
And is one of the most historic franchises in the history of sports, let alone baseball. Then you have the fact that it's anchored by Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Roki Sasaki, who are, some of the biggest stars in the history of Japanese sports, right? And then you are playing against an entire country that's backing the Toronto Blue Jays. This had the recipe for the greatest rated baseball game ever. Obviously, we didn't get there because we're not in that era anymore, but this is probably the best baseball could have gotten right now. This was the best we could have gotten out of baseball right now. So I think that it's just a testament to what Miguel Rojas was saying after the Dodgers won in Game 7. I don't think people are realizing how much good the Dodgers are doing for baseball. They started the season in Japan. They played the longest season ever, and they ended it in Canada. And this is a year removed from starting their season in Korea and then ending it in New York. So, whether these people want to get mad and hate watch the Dodgers, well, the ratings aren't that good if they're not hate watching the Dodgers. So, this is you can hate it all you want, but to the fans, I saw this one Blue Jays today. They actually are very good. These young guys that are like they were live streaming some of the World Series games. And they're really passionate about the Blue Jays, and I actually really, really liked what they were doing. I think that they do a good job.
We love passion.
But after the Dodgers won the World Series, they were talking about one of the guys said, "Fuck it, I'm ready for a lockout," and we need to put a limit on these fucking Japanese players and stuff. And he was like getting a little emotional. I don't think he was being racist or anything, but he was getting a little emotional. Almost talking as if like the Dodgers have some lock on Japanese players or something. It's like, dude, like people need to like step out and zoom out a little bit and realize the Japanese players are going to the Dodgers because of Shohei Ohtani. What, you want to force Japanese players to go to teams they don't want to play for because you're mad about the Dodgers being good? That's number one. Number two, the Blue Jays are an organization that has an entire country behind them, that has one of the best TV deals in the league because they control the Canadian market, and they were making offers to Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto. They were making offers to like all of these players.
They made to play for Yamamoto.
They just had trouble signing these guys because it's hard to convince people to go to Canada. But they have an owner who's making a shitload of money and willing to spend. You should be happy about that. Rooting for a lockout is a detriment to your team. It is not. Totally. It is not going to help your team. You guys were up 3-2 going home, and you were one good Jeff Hoffman outing away, and one Isaiah Kiner-Falefa base running mistake away from winning the World Series. Don't blame the Dodgers on the Japanese market and start calling for a lockout just because you guys lost a couple of games.
Yeah, like, blame Hoffman's karma. For going a little big for his bridges.
Who was it? The Japanese guys who beat you just because Yamamoto pitched won 3 games? It was Miguel Rojas, Max Muncy, and Will Smith who hit the 3 solo home runs that beat you.
Oh yeah.
Keep that in mind. This is not a Japanese thing.
It was won on the margins.
Thing.
This series was won on the margins. The 18-inning game isn't won unless you get an incredible outing from Will Klein and the rest of the pen. All the arms that trotted out that night without Freddie's walk-off. Like there's a lot of things that happen on the margins that edged it out for the Dodgers. And like, don't get me wrong, having that horse of Yamamoto proved to be the difference. But let's not pretend like the Toronto Blue Jays weren't the number 5 team in all of baseball and payroll. Let's not act like they didn't just pay $500 million to Vladdy Guerrero Jr., who looked every fucking bit of worth it, right, in the postseason.
You can't scream poor in this situation, dude.
And it's not even scream poor, but you can't scream like, oh, it's an unfair advantage. Like, okay, you want to lock out, but like, do you want to lock out after the Blue Jays sign Bo Bichette to like a $250 million deal?
Would you be calling for a lockout if Isaiah Kiner-Falefa beat that grounder by like 2 inches?
Right. So I get it.
You get what I'm saying?
But it is a loser's take. Yeah. Bryce Harper said it. It is a loser's take.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bryce Harper, I heard a couple of days ago that like after he made those comments to Manfred about like get the fuck out of our locker room if you're talking, like salary cap shit, that like one of his cronies was like, that's how people end up in ditches. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. You fucking bozo dork. You fucking threatening Bryce Harper, dude. Get out of here, dude. He's a national treasure.
Dude, I mean, that like MLB literally worked with the mafia, or they worked.
What they say.
They worked like the mafia. That's for sure. When it came to like the steroid stuff with A-Rod and Balco and all that stuff, like they were practicing like mafioso tactics during those investigations.
Speaking of, dude.
By the way, to Blue Jays today, I just want to say I did watch you guys in a lot of like mashups of like Blue Jay fans reacting to losing Game 7. So that's how I came across your channel. I just want to remind you of that.
But so, out of respect,
respectfully, I do say that respectfully. No, they're actually pretty good. I'm just giving them a hard time. All right. Where do you want to go here? I guess so our buddy that we used to work with. Like we'll talk about this before we move on to the Dodgers' dream off season. But a buddy of ours that we used to work with, his name is the joy of everything. His name is Joe Andaloro. He filmed KIKE Hernandez at the airport, and it was the airport, right?
Yeah, it was at LAX.
And he was wearing a sling. He had his arm in a cast and a sling, and he sort of like broke the story that KIKE was dealing with. He just got surgery on his elbow. I guess he had been dealing with it all year. It was the injury that nearly kept him out of the playoffs, by the way, but he played through it. And he got into a little beef with Dodgers beat reporter Dave Vassay. Pretty funny. So we just want to give a shout out to Joe Andaloro. Did you see the video? Did you see the little Twitter back and forth?
I did. You sent me the Twitter back and forth, but I did see the video. So if you haven't seen it, basically, cameraman comes up to KIKE and his wife as they exit a car. Looks like he's got his arm in a sling and he's got a big like foam pillow to like immobilize it, I think maybe on the flight or stabilize it, whatever. And he starts asking him, KIKE, some questions just like, hey, you got a great personality, ever think about doing acting? And KIKE's kind of like, I don't know, dude, I don't know. And then finally tells him, I'm under the influence. And him and his wife are like, oh yeah, he just had surgery, and they kind of rush him off. And Vassay was talking a little smack on Twitter about this. I think he called him a clown. I think, I don't know. But
well, he said it. He said it like he was ambushed, is what he said.
That's what it was. And Joe
by some guy
like,
with a camera.
Nominated like that, and I show some respect. I got a bigger platform than you. So yeah, it was great to see a couple of media titans just hashing it out in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's some people might know him as like a paparazzi. But he is a journalist. He is trying to break news and break stories, and he did break this news that KIKE Hernandez was, playing through this injury, and it led to this story. I do want to just like send a message to David Vassay here. The reason why you had to comment and reveal that KIKE was playing through this injury was because of Joe's video. So like. This is only good for KIKE, man. This makes KIKE look even better. So, Joe, good work, brother. Well done.
Jesse, I do remember I had a journalism professor that once said that what is journalism if not reporting on something that somebody else doesn't want you to know? And I'm like,
yeah,
that's kind of, you're kind of right. There you go. So,
yeah,
Joe. Way to go.
Good work, brother. All right, let's so now that we're moving on to the off season here, it's been kind of hard for me to move on to the off season, dude, because
it's hard to switch that gear. There are some rumblings which make it exciting. There's been news in the league. Are the little brothers selling? It sounds like the Padres are entertaining deals, so we'll see how I don't know, active they are in the offseason. Suarez became a free agent. Somebody else notably that I'm missing off the top of my head.
Edwin Diaz. Well, the Dodgers are linked to everybody as per usual.
Totally. I just wanted to make a quick mention of them, in the NL West.
You're talking about the Padres. Sorry.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The Padres are looking to sell
Suarez, Michael King, Dylan Cease, and God, who is it? There was one other guy, and I'm blanking on it right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, but all free agents. I think Suarez opted out of there's like team option deal. But it is interesting. So Suarez, another big arm linked to the Dodgers, because they're in on everybody apparently. But I thought it was interesting because they started talking about some other NL West contenders and the Diamondbacks. And Jesse, what have I been saying since before the trade deadline last year, before I think the All-Star break? I was saying that you will see the Diamondbacks look to move off of Ketel Marte while they can still get max, return for a trade. And lo and behold, dude, it sounds like there's some serious smoke with the Yankees. Seems like a perfect fit. Will they have the trade capital for it? I don't know. But, Jess, it seems like the Dodgers are causing a bit of a rebuild in the NL West. Are you still so sure that they're not ruining baseball, dude?
Yeah, I mean, to give you some credit on that, my thought was that Marte wasn't going to be traded mid-season, only because I thought that it was my respect for the Diamondbacks. I actually thought that they had a good enough team to potentially go on a run and make the playoffs here. Marte, I mean, you make that trade. We're talking about a guy he just signed. This is actually kind of a steal of a deal right now when you consider his production. 6 years, 150, what he signed for, and it goes through 2031. So whoever trades for him would have him for another 5 years. So it's a pretty good deal.
31?
Yeah, and it's only like $25 million a year. That's pretty solid. It's more than that, Brandon. The Colorado Rockies just brought on the guy that Moneyball was based off of, John DePodesta. Whoa. They brought on DePodesta to be to work in their front office. So watch out for those pesky Rockies.
Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if the Diamondbacks trade Cattell.
I think it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of like what they are gonna get for it. Jess, I'm sure you've heard just in other interesting trade rumors, Dodgers are linked to Stephen KWAN.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, okay, so Dodgers are linked to Stephen KWAN, and you're starting to hear rumblings. As famously we've already begrudged the Detroit Tigers for not offering SKUBAL all the money he deserves, but Tarek SKUBAL's in the trade talks.
Yeah.
Jim Bowden talking about Dodgers could make a move with Glass now, maybe Dalton Rushing to start as a package for Tarek SKUBAL. Who knows, dude?
Okay. All right. So where should we start here? Because there's so many different things to talk about if we're going to go down this road. Because what I will say,
it's just pick your own adventure.
Yeah, with the let's go back to the Padres really quick here. The Padres selling the team, I think at this point would probably be the best thing for them. I just don't know. I think they're going to have to move off some money to make it a charitable endeavor, or not a charitable, what do you call it when a profitable endeavor for whoever invests? Because that Xander Bogaerts contract is dead weight.
Darvish
contract. I mean, he's going to be out for the full season, and he's going to be paying him until he's 41, 42 years old. And he was really bad. He had like a 5.3 ERA this year.
Totally.
I mean, that's pretty bad. So they're going to have to find a way out of some of those contracts, because I do think that Tatis and Machado, is like a good enough like 1-2 punch to like convince some teams like we can make some money in the first 5 years of this deal, right?
Yeah.
We can have a competitive team. But I think that's the best thing long term for them. Short term, in terms of their window into competing for championships, their minor league system is like 25th in baseball or something. It's down there because they've traded away so many prospects to do what they've done, and they might lose Michael King and Dylan Cease this offseason. I'm starting to get a little bit worried for the Padres and their future, the ability to compete for a World Series over the next like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like to give him shit, but I do think that what's been
I'm being serious right now. I'm not being a troll. I'm just being serious.
I'm right there with you, dude. I'm prefacing this to say, like, hey, I think what the Padres are doing are great for baseball. I think that team's electric and exciting, and I think it's scary, after the death of their late owner, Peter Seidler, and, the in-house grumblings between his widow and brothers. It just seems like they need to get out of the way and let some more money come and take this team to the next level. But it is scary, right? Because there is so much money tied up, and they are bad contracts. Cronenworth, who's their pitcher? Joe Musgrove. Machado. The only one kind of worth it feels like is Tatis, But
even that, like, he hasn't been the same player since the steroid stuff went down.
Which is weird, right?
Yeah.
Did he win another platinum glove, which is dog shit? So
he won a platinum glove. I do want to say,
you
brought up something that's interesting, and it might be their way out of this, is potentially, like, trading the Machado contract.
I don't think they can, dude.
I don't think they can either, but, like, can you trade the Bogaerts contract? No. Can you trade the Darvish contract? No. Can you trade the Cronenworth contract? Probably not. The Machado contract might be the most tradable if you're not going to move off Tatis, or you have to fucking trade Jackson Merrill to get some prospect capital back for your farm system, or a major league ready guy that's on the cheap, because then they just extended Merrill. So that you can maybe trade Merrill's contract.
Yeah, they have a great contract with Merrill, and I think Merrill's the piece that you build around moving forward. Him and Tatis, I think, are the centerpieces. With Manny being that like 3-hole guy, 4-hole guy as he gets a little bit older, holding down third base. But I think he had the most errors he's had in a season since his rookie year this year. He'll never be Johnny Hustle. But it is scary, so we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on that. But I'm not expecting the Padres to be big this offseason. in the mix for a lot of big things, but I do think they're going to go for like one big impact arm, to be honest.
Well, they have to, because they're losing. They might be losing Cease or King. If they don't keep both of those guys, this is we're entering scary season for them. And Halloween already passed, man.
Ooh, that's a seasonal joke. I like that.
Yeah, I do want to say something really quick about contracts, because I was actually, this is totally not in the notes, but I was looking at Ronald Acuna Jr.'s contract yesterday.
Oh, dude, I saw that too.
Yeah, and his contract goes through the end of next year. It's the end of his 8 years, $100 million contract that he signed with the Braves.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, he's about to... I thought at the time that was like such a bad deal, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, if he has a big year this year, he might actually get the 10-year, like $500 million deal in the offseason starting in 2027.
I would love to see that. It would be incredible.
Let me see. I want to... What is
Who do you think gets more money in free agency, Bo Bichette or this version of Ronald Acuna?
So the club. So okay, listen to this. His deal ends in 26. He gets 2 club options for 27 and 28. The dude signed off 2 club options, not player options, club options. That fucking agent needs to be fired, man. That is crazy, bro. The Braves can just fucking activate those club options for the next 2 years if he doesn't want to sign an extension. You know? They have him for 3 guaranteed years like that he can't get out of.
Dude.
For like $30 million. That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
I think that Acuna would get a bigger deal than Bichette. For sure. For sure. Because Acuna is actually a pretty good defender. Bichette is, and he was like 40-70 guy just a couple of years back. I know that he tore his second ACL, but like, I don't know. I think
that's why I asked it, because of the comp to Acuna's ACLs. You know, he's had a double ACL tear. Now with Bichette, they're comparable in age. I know Acuna's done it for longer, has the MVP, has that crazy, what was it, 70 fucking 40
70. 47.
Fucking crazy, dude. But Jess, I know I've been
no, we've been all over the place. Let's narrow it down.
I just want to say one thing about the Joe and Vassay thing.
We're going back. Okay, here we go.
Real quick, I didn't know this. I didn't know KIKE had elected free agency. So I wonder if that's why Vassay, as a buddy of KIKE's, was a little bit like, dude, you're fucking getting him. Like, this is going to affect his free agency. Like, you know what I mean? Being seen in the sling post-surgery. I wonder. I'm not saying for sure, because obviously teams are going to get medical history, but it might be one of those things that teams won't be doing a physical for another like 4 or 5 months on him. So now saying that, oh, you've already, you have surgery. Well, now they can have a little leverage instead of not knowing that he already had surgery. I don't know. Go figure.
You might be right, but at the same time, like, KIKE is one of those players that owners like to leverage against other teams, because he's right there in the middle. He's sort of like in that Harrison Bader territory of guys that are...
I see what you did there.
Productive, right? Yeah, they're productive, but they're never going to get that big deal, So you establish market value with guys like that, right? And KIKE talked about this a few years back when he was re-signing with the Dodgers, that everybody that he signed, that everybody that he was pursuing in free agency was offering him 1 year, $4 million. It was like every team. It was the same exact deal.
And he even said that there were parameters on it. Like, you needed to accept the contract by this day, or it goes away. We're going to offer it to the next guy. Famously alluding to owners colluding.
Right. Collusion?
Deferred. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I thought was interesting just to throw in there.
Yeah, I think that you could be onto something there, but I will say, like, probably I'm imagining the Dodgers might bring him back on another 1 year deal, unless he can get a 2 year, $15 million deal somewhere. But
I think he takes 2 years, like $6 million. That'd be cool. Come on,
210. Give him 2 for 10.
Honestly, it's a 1 year deal for me. I think it's a 1 year deal for me.
Yeah, he's 34, 35.
Let's see if he can be a 3-time champ. If not,
He is a 3-time champ. Did you not hear his speech at the parade, dude? The triple champ does what the fuck he wants, brother.
Dude, it's crazy, dude. We mentioned in passing just about Stephen Kwan, Tarek Skubal. We'll see what the trade interest really is there.
Well, let's do this. Let's do our dream offseason here, because this is where
we're getting a little long in the tooth here.
We are. Let's end the episode here, because we just passed winter meetings, and we do have some rumors going on. There's obviously people saying that the Dodgers are linked to Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger. There's some trade scenarios out there that they could be going after Stephen Kwan. What's your dream scenario here with the Dodgers going into free agency? Are you on the Tucker train, or do you think that's not realistic? Do you even want Tucker? Where's your head at with all that?
I really wasn't blown away with his season, and that's not if you look at the numbers, it's better than you would think, because it was kind of quiet, I would say, after a hot start for Tucker. But I wasn't blown away by it, and I'm just not into him for $400+ million. I don't know. I think the Dodgers need to get younger, and I think they need to get a little bit more flexible. Like you had mentioned earlier, I think Harrison Bader is a great fit for this club. There's a bunch of people talking about a reunion with Bellinger. He had all-star numbers at Yankee Stadium this year, but on the road he was below average. We've seen him struggle at Dodger Stadium. I'm okay. Yeah, I like the versatility that he can play both corner outfield spots at a high level, and probably decent center still, and maybe gives Freddie a blow at first. I get it. Dodgers covet versatility. I just don't see it happening. I think that experiment's long gone. So, like I said, I like a little Harrison Bader in there. We'll see what they do. Stephen Kwan, I still think the asking price is going to be a little high for the Dodgers. Like I said, I think they're going to prioritize getting younger and more flexible.
Might be lower now, though, now that we're one season left in his contract. It might be lower now than it was at the deadline last year. Yeah.
Yeah, and arguably, it could be, and you could also make that same argument, that maybe the Guardians will hold off until the trade deadline, when they could perceive his value as highest, for teams that are looking to, maybe get that little edge to a World Series that they need. And I just think that Tarek Skubal is a little pie in the sky right now. We'll see how the offseason goes, how the grumblings go. I feel like Detroit, if they're as serious as they seem at building a perennial contender right now, you have to sign this guy. You back-to-back AL Cy Young winner. This doesn't happen. You're not going to trade for prospects that are going to become this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just not. And if you do, cool. But are they going to stay fucking healthy? And Skubal's proving that he can. I know we're all one bad pitch away, but he's a superstar for a reason. And now you're hearing grumblings out of Pittsburgh. Maybe Skeens would like to play for the Yankees one day. And you could just kind of see everything starting to move. Will it? Maybe. But like we talked about earlier, dude, team like maybe the Blue Jays, who got a lot of money to throw around, maybe they make a big trade for a Skubal or something like that.
And then sign Tucker. I would love that. He would be a perfect fit in Toronto. They trade some prospect capital for maybe a major leaguer for.
I swear we
for
didn't talk
Skubal.
about this before.
No, we did not.
I was gonna literally lead right into this, but
here's what I want to say about the Dodgers and Tucker, because theoretically, Tucker to the Dodgers makes a ton of sense. He is the Dodgers. We had Teoscar Hernandez in right field, which was the bane of our existence all year long. I was worried it was going to cost us a World Series, and it almost kind of felt like it when Andres Jimenez hit a double in the 6th or 7th inning of Game 7 that Teoscar had zero range to get to, which led to a run against Tyler Glasnow in that game, right? So I thought that it was a problem for us. So moving Teo to left field, getting Tucker in right field, I think is a perfect fit. The issue isn't that he's not a good fit. The issue is do the Dodgers need to do this? Do they need to give another 10-year contract to pay a guy into his early 40s to make this happen? I don't necessarily think so. Here's a specific reason why. Baseball America just listed Eduardo Quintero as the #1 prospect in baseball. He's an outfielder for the Dodgers in the Dodgers farm system. The Dodgers' top 5 prospects has 4 outfielders in it. So like they have Mike Sirota, they have Zaire Hope, they have Jose DePaula, they have Eduardo Quintero. They have nothing but outfield depth in the farm system. That doesn't mean that one of these guys is going to be the next star right fielder for the Dodgers. But what it means is you have trade capital if you need it. You could decide to sort of, roll with, Teo another year before you move on to one of these guys. You could sign Tucker and then play one of these guys in left. There's so much flexibility here, but I just don't think that signing Tucker is as much of a priority as some fans might think it is, simply because of where the Dodgers are at depth and outfield. It's the one place in the farm system where there's unquestionable depth that the Dodgers have.
And I think people look at like Michael Busch, right, for the Cubs and go like, dude, why didn't we keep him around? We could have found a spot for him on the diamond. It's like, dude, the guy was an infielder. We're not getting rid of Freddie Freeman, just like we're not going to sit Teoscar Hernandez's bat, we're just not.
Yeah.
Maybe take him out for defensive substitutions, but that's, the kind of sword you lay on. And just to mention, Tommy Edman got ankle surgery already this offseason. So what type of shape he'll be in to start the season, I don't know.
Whatever they do.
But it will give a lot of space to some of these younger guys like Zaire Hope and whatever that are top-tier prospects, an opportunity to get some playing time potentially, and maybe a big piece of a trade this or future off seasons.
And whatever they do, I do think that a primary focus has to be, how do we get Teoscar Hernandez to left field? I think that has to be like a top priority. That doesn't mean that Kyle Tucker needs to be the top priority signing. Like you said, I'd be okay with the Cody Bellinger coming back for 4 or 5 years, but at a reasonable price. And I know that you mentioned that you're sort of in between on that, but I think that the Dodgers are in such a unique position here, because I don't think that it's a guarantee that they spend a bunch of money, but I also don't think that they feel like, as a front office, that if they end up feeling like one of these contracts turns out to be bad, like if they feel like the Mookie contract, even though he's obviously been great at shortstop, his offense is starting to dwindle, you could go after a shortstop and move Mookie back to right field, and then all of a sudden it's feeling a little things are working themselves out again. So I think the Dodgers have a lot of flexibility that they can work on in this offseason.
Hey, and to your point,
just move Teo to left. That's all I care about.
Hey, and to your point about maybe Mookie back in the outfield, and this is all a moot point, right? A moot point. But, dude, they got a solution for shortstop. The Comet, Ha-Sung Kim. He's a shortstop.
They also have Alex Freeland, who's waiting in the wings. He's probably better at third baseman, but
But my point is, Kim is a high-level shortstop, a young guy who's gotten to get a real taste at the big league. I want to see him get some big reps next year. Somewhere, if it's not second, maybe some short. We'll see as the year progresses.
I like the Harrison Bader signing, dude. I think that's the one that makes the most sense here, because I think that you can do some platoon stuff. Michael Conforto, by the way, he's not going to be coming back to the Dodgers next year. He's linked to the Padres.
Love that for them.
Congratulations, guys.
If he becomes a Dodger killer, I'll never forgive him, dude.
Yeah.
I'll take the ring back. I'll tell you that, dude. Call me Frodo.
Sorry, we've been rambling a little bit. I'm just excited to be back. But we should end on one thing here, because there is this story about gambling in baseball with Emmanuel CLASE potentially facing 60 years, and Luis Ortiz as well. Is it Luis Ortiz or?
I believe so.
Yeah.
They're saying that CLASE roped Ortiz into it. Potentially for a finder's fee. Who knows?
Right. So, as brief as we can, is this just full proof that Shohei Ohtani is innocent? The fact that MLB is coming down so hard on these guys, and the FBI is coming down so hard on these guys, that this is proof that Shohei didn't do shit?
Your mouth to God's ears, brother. Also, I mean, dude, if there was, like an opportunity to bust somebody that big, they would do it. I don't think there's a protecting that thing. I think it's like...
Well, I don't think the FBI protects anybody. The FBI is going after Trump. Do you think they're not going to go after Shohei?
Totally. And are they?
Yeah. Or they did go after Trump, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
I know what you mean. But, I don't know. I think this is proof that there are ramifications for cheating or gambling or perceived fixing or actual fixing. And we've just never really had a system for it. I think that, like, figuring it out, like everything's just logged now, and there's paper trails on all our phones, and we're seeing what happens in real time. I thought John Boy had a real good take about it, about these guys kind of getting, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, like compromised early in their careers, maybe when they're broke or when they're younger, or they're teenagers, yet maybe given a little info like, oh yeah, like give me the lineup when the coach gives it up, and maybe, hey, I bet you so and so starting today. All right, or little things like that, and it's it has no bearing on the outcome of the game. And then, it turns into stuff like this, like, hey, throw a ball on your first pitch. And, if I'm a Guardians fan, dude, a part of me is just like not gonna question for the rest of my life, like, hey, were some of these playoff, shortcomings that seem to have happened out of nowhere last postseason, was that because somebody was like threatening you, dude, or like making sure you were maybe throwing a little meatball when you otherwise would have been the most dominant closer on the planet?
Did you see that this scheme was foiled by one Andy Pages?
Ooh, I did see that, dude.
So because Clase was throwing first pitch balls a lot, which was what seems like that was the scheme, was we're gonna bet that Clase is gonna throw first pitch ball. And then, of course, Andy Pages, the penultimate, I don't even know what that means. The ultimate first pitch swinger of the Dodgers.
Penultimate means like second to last.
I know. I realized that.
You didn't know that.
Who's number one then? Who's number one? Shohei. Of course, Clase goes in and throws a ball at the feet of Andy Pages, and Pages is like, "Nah, I'm fucking swinging at that shit." So,
like,
pretty funny that.
Hand.
He literally got text messages. There are text messages from his Clase gets text messages from his guy where he's like, I can't believe he swung at that. And then Clase responds with an emoji, like a shaking my head emoji.
Yeah, like some GIF. It was bad, dude.
Yeah.
It's as damning as it gets. And, man, dude, you remember he was like posting like his awards and his like rings that he'd won, like remembering who I am, like after giving up that home run to Soto in the 2024 postseason. Do you remember that, dude? He was having
that
like
wasn't,
a little bit
that
of
wasn't
a crisis.
Soto. It wasn't. He gave one off to Judge in that playoffs. They ended up winning that game, but no, it was he had a bad series against the Yankees. Though.
Totally, no, he got lit up. I mean, they lost the series, but my point was there was an outing that was rough that he was like posting all this stuff, and you kind of go like,
yes,
is this guy's like mental health all there? And now knowing that he had these people in the shadows, like. Dude. Making him. I mean, I don't know, making him, but
to your
making
point,
sure money was on the line. I don't know.
To your point about them being like compromised at a young age by these like mafioso figures or whatever. Like, remember Yasiel Puig?
Totally.
When he came over to the States, he was on one of those boats from Cuba where he was basically smuggled into Mexico and then through the Mexican League up into America. I mean, he was basically compromised by Cuban thugs who essentially were like, we will help you. We'll get you across the water across international waters into Mexico up to the States, but you're going to pay us a certain amount to do this. And like literally they showed up at his house with like gunpoint, you haven't paid up. So just keep that shit in perspective for baseball fans, when you judge people too harshly. I'm not saying Clase is a good guy, but what I'm saying is like these guys from like Latin American countries go through shit to accomplish their dreams that none of us would ever imagine.
100%. I couldn't agree more with that, Dave.
It's hardcore, and they're just trying to protect their families, and they don't see what they're doing as corrupt. It's against the rules. They deserve to be punished, but they don't see it as if they're like bad people. They see it as if they're just trying to help their families. Totally. And they're trying to protect themselves while also helping their team at the same time. They're trying to weave that thread, so to speak. So.
Yeah, these guys aren't risking generational millions and millions of dollars for a couple hundred
for no reason.
$1,000 bets. Yeah, you know, there's a larger game at play here. So I agreed with John Boy that he thought some of the or all the reporting on it so far is like sucked. And I do too, because there isn't like a full story being told. And yeah, cheating's bad. Yeah, gambling's bad. Yeah, there need to be better guardrails and everything like that. But there is a real human element where you got money on the line and people will use violence against your loved ones or you if you don't do what you're told. And there are real world implications of that, you know.
That's why I didn't think Shohei did anything wrong, because Shohei was, both examples are people being taken advantage of, right? But Shohei's was, he was already coming from wealth in some way, where he was already branded, he was already making his money, you know, it was already established for him that he was going to be a generational millionaire. Whereas for guys like that are coming over from the Latin countries, these are poorer countries. Japan, coming from Japan and coming from I don't know where he's, Dominican Republic, wherever Class A comes from. I apologize. Very, very different scenarios, and I think it shows in terms of how they act and in terms of how they don't see the repercussions of their actions in the same way. So
yeah, and he's from the DR. You were right.
Yeah, Dominican. Anyways,
what a heavy way to end it, though, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's got to face some punishment for sure, but baseball's got to do a better job at this. This has got to get regulated better. And, hey, like we said, people are getting fucking threatened now at unprecedented rates through the anonymity of the computer. So,
well, it's just so hypocritical of all of these sports leagues to come down this harshly. And I'm not saying they shouldn't come down harshly. Like, if it's illegal, it's illegal, but like I saw that thing on ESPN where they're talking about the betting scandal with Chauncey Billups and what's his name, Terry Rozier, and they're at the bottom. There's this banner for DraftKings or FanDuel or whatever, and they had to remove it while they're talking about it. They literally made an executive decision from the producers at ESPN to like remove that banner because they realized how fucking bad it looked.
Well, dude, to your point,
You know?
I remember when we were back at the company. I remember there was a shooting
At the mothership?
I remember there was a shooting outside of one of the clubs, and like Night Crew got it, and they put up the video, and they lost a bunch of sponsors. And I remember the like corporate people at Warner Brothers were fucking pissed, and your boy, the lawyer, like fought for it. It was like, no, we're gonna keep this on the website. And I remember like Kraft Macaroni like pulled their advertisement because they didn't want that right up before somebody got shot in front of like the Spider Room in Hollywood, you know.
Right.
And like, and yeah, it's just gnarly, dude. Like, advertisers don't play around with that stuff. And like, hey, if you got money in DraftKings, you definitely don't want your fucking brand around gambling scandals. It literally is poisoning the well for you. So, you know, I don't know how we fix it. It kind of feels like going to these gambling apps for like, hey, we got to figure out how to regulate it, is like going to Big Tobacco and saying, hey, can we make your product less addicting? It kind of just seems silly. So we'll see what ultimately happens. I hope it doesn't lead to somebody getting hurt or killed or something like that. But yeah, things are crazy, dude. You were telling me before we started about a guy who got busted in MMA. I don't know, was it the UFC for?
So yeah, this guy named Isaac Dulgarian. He was I don't know if he's a lightweight. I forget what he is, but anyways, he before a UFC fight night recently, this was like a few weeks back, the UFC got notified by one of these watchdog groups that monitor like irregular betting patterns to monitor like fraud, basically.
Yeah.
And or mafia activity. And there was this irregular amount of betting going on in favor of, all these bets were coming in on Isaac Dulgarian to lose by first round finish, right? All of these random bets started coming in, and Dana White claims in an interview that he said, I made a call to Dolgarian to ask him about this, and he said, no, I want to kill this guy. I'm ready to fight. Like, I don't know what this is about. And then what happens? He ends up losing by first round finish. And now he's been suspended by NYSAC. He is, being investigated. He's being investigated by the FBI. So this is all connected. And in a variety of ways. I mean, I think it's all connected to the Chauncey Billups poker scandal. I think it's all connected to the NBA scandal. I think it's all connected to MLB. I think that there's this nefarious interlinking of different groups and entities that are taking advantage of professional sports because we've legalized micro bets and these like different things that we can bet on that wouldn't normally. I mean, betting on fights is a little different, but specific scenarios when you're betting on that's where you're like, oh shit,
yeah.
this is different. Anyways, so I'm just hoping that baseball, cleans itself up a little bit from that. They did, by the way, they put a $200 limit on how much you can bet on micro bets.
Wow.
Baseball stepped in and said, you can no longer bet more than $200 on whether or not Emmanuel CLASE is going to throw a first pitch ball.
Shit, dude. And you know what's crazy, Jesse? Just put one final nail in this gambling coffin, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, DraftKings and FanDuel have agreed to abandon Nevada because they wanted them to they're going to launch their own sports events contracts right through it, through DraftKings predictions and stuff like that. Vegas didn't want to do it. They wanted to have a little bit different, I don't know, maybe have their money in it different, have their fingers in it, whatever. But instead, DraftKings and FanDuel have just said, you know what, we're going to bail on Nevada altogether. Keep your license. We'd rather do online betting to people in California and whatever other states because
we're going to go through Kalshi instead. Is that what they're saying?
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're going to go through crypto betting.
Yeah, so it's not operating a sports book in Vegas, but yeah, dude, it's
interesting.
Crazy. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, okay. Well,
so we'll see. The times are changing, brother, and
that's probably because the mafia and those big casino owners were starting to get litigious with companies like DraftKings. Well, think about it, dude.
Can't strong arm an algorithm, right?
That was their thing for decades. Was if you want to bet on sports, you got to go to Vegas to do it, and all of a sudden, the online gambling industry comes in, and people don't have to travel to do that shit all of a sudden. Dude. So
and Vegas is too
the mafia is
anyways.
like, we're gonna start chopping some fingers off if you guys don't fucking do this.
Well, we got to keep an eye out for that, dude. But
yeah.
Anyways, I don't want my fingers chopped, but
regardless of that, dude, how does it feel to be a back-to-back champion, bro?
Oh man, it feels so good, dude. It feels so good. 2020, 2024, 2025. This is the decade of the dynasty. This is the Dodger dynasty, the Blue Boys, the blue collar boys, and it's the damn dynasty of deferred collusion, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, it's good to be back. This is our outro for our first off-season episode of the year.
That's right.
Oh man, it's good to be back. Ladies, gents, thems, theirs, there, others,
them,
whatever. They. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what we missed, what we didn't, what you're liking, what you're excited. What are your predictions? Who's going where? Who's signing there? How much money we spending, brother? Are we going to get a lockout in 2026?
I hope so.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think so
But
either.
Jess, take us out, baby.
It's me, Jesse Rowe with Deferred Collusion, the King of Crespi, joined as always by Branden Bullinger, Lord Paramount of the South Bay in Los Angeles, California. Thanks as always. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. And Branden, it's so good to be back with you, and I cannot wait until we're doing this again next year. Hopefully, we do this a little bit more often. We record, once a week, maybe.
I love that. Let's do it.
Let us know. Do you guys want us to record once a week, twice a week, once every other week? Are you annoyed with us? Do you hate us? I don't really care because we'll be back. Love ya.
Love you, back to back. Cheers.